I just wanted to put a disclaimer before the video. This is my first deep dive. I really enjoyed making it, and if you guys like it, I promise there'll be more to come. If you like this video, comment, like, subscribe to the channel. And if you have any other songs or subjects you would like me to do a deep dive on, hit me up on Instagram. Let me know on my DM. I'll open all of them. Now back to the video. Kendrick Lamar. Critically acclaimed hip-hop savior. Pulitzer Prize winner. Multiple Grammy wins. And in 2017, he dropped one of the greatest albums of all time, Damn. And after that, we just stopped seeing Kendrick. He went on a 5-year hiatus. A lot of people said that he was retired. A lot of people said he was done with rap. But then he popped out in 2022 with his album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is my personal favorite Kendrick album, but for personal reasons. For those who don't know about the album or have never listened to it, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was a deep dive into Kendrick's psyche in the last 5 years that he was on his hiatus. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers touched on a lot of things: depression, infidelity, going to therapy, hiding who you really are behind materialistic things like money and cars, and childhood trauma and black trauma. But the biggest takeaway from the album was that Kendrick Lamar, who the world named hip-hop savior, basically told everybody who listened, I am not your savior. There were a lot of great songs on that album. Some of my favorites: Father Time, United in Grief, Mother I Sober. But as time went by, I was going down a rabbit hole, and I stumbled upon what I learned was a song that was supposed to be on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers but never got cleared. It was a song called Prayer, or at least that's what the internet is calling it. Now at this point, I've listened to this song multiple times, driven hours just playing it back, listening for something new, paying attention to every lyric I heard. And the crazy thing is, after all those times that I've listened to it, I'm still not tired of it. And at first I wasn't going to do this video, but because I love Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers so much, and because I love this song so much, today I will be breaking down Mr. Morale's Lost Gem. Now before Kendrick released Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he released a song called The Heart Part 5. And on The Heart Part 5, he says the words,
as I get a little older, I realize life is perspective.
And those words ring true in prayer, as every verse is from a different perspective. The instrumental and beat is nothing too deep and thought out like the other songs on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It's merely a simple piano riff that accompanies each verse. Kendrick raps from a random perspective, not letting us know exactly who he is, but the day he was born.
I was born on February 24th, 1970.
February 24th, 1970. Of course, when you hear a specific date like that, it's gonna make you want to do some research. You do your Googles, you'll find out February 24th, 1970 was the day that the Jackson 5 released their hit single ABC. So already, you're left confused. So he's talking about Michael Jackson, right?
My father was a public figure, bigger than life, lived as a winner on stages alike.
So when you have Michael Jackson on your mind as the perspective that Kendrick is speaking from, you're thinking to yourself, my father was a public figure bigger than life? Joe Jackson? This Joe Jackson? Was this bigger than life public figure?
I was made out of love to keep you happy and educated. The first 3 letters of the alphabet, my name. I made you laugh, I made you dance, I made you sing.
That's when it dawned on me. He's not talking from the perspective of Michael Jackson. He's talking from the perspective of the ABC song. Now knowing that Kendrick is rapping from the perspective of the song, which is already genius, you start to hear the lyrics a little differently.
He had more children, I was the oldest. We always played with each other before they ruined them.
He had more children, but I was the oldest. He's talking about all the other hits that Michael Jackson had, being Michael Jackson's children. The ABC song gives us a history lesson on the relationship that he actually had with his father, Michael Jackson.
He told me his personal secrets, childhood, catching him beaten, sexually touched and abused, never seen life in a school. The price of being iconic was demonic and screwed.
But as the verse continues, you can hear the piano keys taking a darker turn, as does the lyrics.
See, it was more than humiliation and being sued. They crucified my affiliation for points to prove. And now my purpose for living makes no difference to you. My total existence was for making a smile and move. They said that I'll live forever. But the moment he died, more accusations arrived. I had to die too.
With the verse ending in this way, it now becomes clear what the purpose of this song really is. The ABC song talks about having to watch Michael Jackson on the news, public scrutiny. Imagine seeing a time where Michael Jackson was once loved and then have to watch it slowly turn to where he's a social pariah now. And then to make matters worse, when shit started hitting the fan and pedophile accusations started coming at his father, people started looking at the ABC song as evidence to those claims. The ABC song was designed to get you off your feet, to put you in a feel-good mood. And still to this day, that's exactly what the song does. But for the longest time, while Michael Jackson was going through those things, going through that trial, going through the public scrutiny, the ABC song was only brought up to further bury Michael Jackson under the dirt. At this point in 2025, is Michael Jackson on the right side of history? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's hard to act like people still don't have that sour taste in their mouth for Michael Jackson and songs like ABC. So when the verse ends with the ABC song saying I had to die too, it's basically because a lot of people don't have that same feeling towards that song anymore. Be honest with yourself. When's the last time you've seen a TikTok using the ABC song? When's the last time you've seen the ABC song go viral on social media? It's one of those things that we don't think about unless we really think about it. So when the verse ends with the ABC song saying that I had to die too, that's kind of the reality of the situation. The ABC song, it died with Michael Jackson.
I remember taking my first breath, August 28, 1963.
The second verse starts with a new date, showing that we have just entered into a new perspective. August 28th, 1963. The whole nation has saved the day. I made it on TV. And the realization that the first verse was from the perspective of a song, it wasn't too hard to realize what the second perspective was. August 28th, 1963 was the day of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. It was the day that Martin Luther King delivered his legendary I Had a Dream speech. With the line, I made it on TV, it was very quickly that I realized that Kendrick was rapping from the perspective of Martin Luther King's I Had a Dream speech. The Martin Luther King speech talks about being in disbelief by the turnout, the way that people were in standing ovation for the words that was read. And then he quickly transitions into bigging up his father, Dr. Martin Luther King, in the way that he never planned to retaliate against the police in a violent way. He used his words to make change.
Races and faces embracing my conscience in letter form. How gracious was I? Speaking on changes was outside the norm. The person responsible, my creator. He never conformed or used hatred to form as retaliation.
The FBI wasn't feeling that. Martin Luther King wasn't a criminal, so they couldn't just put him in jail over something petty. But they looked at the way that the March on Washington made him look perfect in those people's eyes. So the FBI, they concocted a plan. How do you destroy a perfect man? Show everybody that he's not perfect. When accusations behind the scenes started to rise of him cheating on his wife, rumors of infidelity, they were content with exposing that to the public.
Today, the administration released over 240,000 pages of records despite opposition from King's family and from the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which King co-founded. The civil rights leader's children called the release deeply personal and urged empathy and respect. The files, originally sealed until 2027, revealed decades of FBI surveillance aimed at discrediting King and the civil rights movement. Critics argue that the surveillance was illegal and unjust. They tapped his phone for years and caught him in what likely were affairs with a lot of different women, which is part of the reason that his family didn't want all this out there. But now it is.
The I Had a Dream speech continues his verse saying that he was nervous. When the accusations rose, he was nervous, not knowing how the people would react to the speech because of what was happening with Dr. Martin Luther King himself. Would the court of public opinion still hold Dr. Martin Luther King's words in high regard, or would they just chalk his speech up to empty statements coming from a lying cheater?
My creator stripped from being the poet because he yearned other women, infidelity stricken. I can't say he was perfect, it made me nervous. They tear him down and forget me. I prayed that I survive in the midst of the controversy.
The I Had a Dream speech acknowledges its purpose for being born in the first place.
How many lives have fallen on deaf ears if I'm not worthy? I won't justify his personal problems, that's not my job. I was only born to make sure your children can play outside, and I imagine the other demons he hid before he died. If they came to surface, this dream probably won't be alive because of you.
It was made to bring us all together. It wasn't here to justify what Dr. Martin Luther King does in his free time. Whether or not the accusations against Dr. Martin Luther King are true or not, does the I Had a Dream speech deserve to be forgotten? The third and final verse, it begins without a date or no real hint to what it's talking about.
I was born in paranoia, his poison for us. We can't create with joyous ambition, we're out of luck.
You're left unsure what perspective Kendrick is rapping from. So this was one of those verses that I really had to pay attention to the lyrics and really try to understand what he was saying.
Why can't you gladly appreciate the influence we give? Stop staring at me disgusted, my substance made sure you live. You want the head of the messenger and the history from him, which eventually takes away from the good you accustomed. Think of a life without the likes of imagination that's prospering. The bodies that you consider genius, you like the boxermen, the great debaters and thinkers that gave you a voice. Why can't you prosecute the crimes and not the thoughts I employ?
And that's when it hit me. That's when I understood what was going on. Kendrick is rapping in this third verse from the perspective of creativity. Kendrick is basically talking about in this verse so far how creatives are so important to the world. People who create things, they're a special breed. And in today's day, people who have no creative bone in their body are so quick to condemn a creative. But not only that, they're so quick to condemn the art that comes from the creative. For example, with everything that's going on with somebody like R. Kelly. R. Kelly has given us great R&B music. He's given us Trapped in the Closet, which is my personal favorite R. Kelly project. But I've often had problems where if I give Trapped in the Closet any praise, I'm looked at with a side eye. But the side eye comes from what R. Kelly did. I'm looking at it from the art that he gave. Understand what I'm saying? The way that Kendrick says, why can't you prosecute the crimes and not the thoughts I employ? He's talking from the place of creativity where the art didn't do pedophile things, R. Kelly did. What R. Kelly did in his personal life is completely different from what he did in the studio. So why can't I enjoy Trapped in the Closet while at the same time saying that R. Kelly is a sick motherfucker?
Because your better judgment would always look down on me. But if I recollect how we connect, you'll count on me. See, if Daniel Hale was a killer, would you not want a heart?
In this part of the verse, creativity calls out the court of public opinion's hypocrisy. For people that don't know who Daniel Hale is, Daniel Hale was the first surgeon to perform open heart surgery. So what creativity is saying, if you find out that Daniel Hale was a killer, if he was a murderer, if he was a psychopath, but you needed open heart surgery, you're trying to tell me that you would just let yourself die?
If Carl Benz was a racist, would you stop driving cars?
You could look at the last name and kind of understand who Carl Benz was, but Carl Benz was a German engineer, designer, automatic engineer. If Carl Benz was a racist, would you stop driving cars? If we found out that Carl Benz was a racist man, would we not drive his nice vehicles? Now, before you say, doctor, of course we wouldn't, I gotta call BS on that, because we've given examples of times where we do this fake outrage. A couple years ago, I remember we were mad at Chick-fil-A for some racist things. I was just in the Chick-fil-A drive-through line. There were 10 black people in the drive-through line. There were even more people walking inside to go order the Chick-fil-A. We held Tommy Hilfiger under fire. I'm still seeing people buying their kids Tommy Hilfiger.
What happened to Hilfiger? We wasn't jacking that. And then everybody started still wearing the boxes and the new joints.
Hell, even Gucci. We held Gucci under the fire. But guess what? We still rock Gucci every day. You get a little bit of money, there's still people buying Gucci shirts, Gucci shoes. But I don't want to really chalk it up to my people being hypocrites. I think it's more so my people not knowing where they should direct their anger to. We're mad at the person who made the product. We're not mad at the product. We love Gucci. We love Benz vehicles. We love Tommy Hilfiger clothing brand. We love Timberland boots. We love Chick-fil-A. We love R. Kelly's music. We love Michael Jackson's discography. Where will we be if not for open heart surgery? We love the creativity of these people, but we just don't like their actions in their personal lives. So for me, the biggest takeaway and the biggest message from this song is when Kendrick says,
talent doesn't choose morality.
Thriller didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I'm gonna latch myself on to Michael Jackson. The I Had a Dream speech didn't latch on to Martin Luther King and say, oh, I need you to help me change the world. That's not what happened. Yes, people do some crazy shit in their lives and some things that we'll probably never know. And I'm not excusing that. I'm not ignoring that, and I'm sure as hell not encouraging it. But I am a firm believer that we shouldn't have to force ourselves to shun the art because of the morale of the father.
Just know the earth is just a rock without the voices of art. Sincerely yours. I got a theory that most of y'all won't allow to see. It goes like this. I can't help we jump in these bodies and you call them a god.